His son, Joseph Kabila, served as interim president and is currently serving his second term as president of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Since taking office, it is estimated that the Congolese people have lost billions of dollars worth of resource revenues, as Kabila and other elites have authorized the sale of mining concessions well below market value.
How Jacobin has on several occasions sold stakes that it owned at a price that was way below market value to these offshore companies that were then flipped later on for a much higher rate. One of the most questionable deals that Jacobin entered into was for this copper and cobalt project called SMKK. A big Kazakh mining company called ENRC owned 50% of it, and Jacobin owned the other 50%. Suddenly what happened was Jacobin didn't own the other 50% anymore. It was sold for $15 million to a British Virgin Islands-based offshore company called Emerald Star Enterprises. No one knew who they were or where they'd come from. A few months later, ENRC bought that 50% that used to be Jacobin's from Emerald Star Enterprises for $75 million. It doesn't make any sense. The state lost $60 million. Jacobin lost $60 million. It is beyond belief that Jacobin wouldn't know that that property was worth more than $15 million, and it doesn't make sense that they shouldn't be furious.
The common thing about these deals is that one man is involved in all of them. This man, Dan Gertler, is a friend of the company's president. He advertises himself as a friend of the company's president. Companies like Glencore and ENRC, they always partner up with Dan Gertler.
The Gertler deals were all structured the same. A company associated with Gertler based in the British Virgin Islands bought a mining concession from Jacobin for as little as 5% of its market value. Almost immediately, the concession was flipped to a major mining company, either ENRC or Glencore, for its actual market value. The profit margins reached as high as 800%. Instead of benefiting the Congolese state, profits went solely to the companies in the British Virgin Islands. Cloaked behind the British Virgin Islands corporate protections, the identity of those who have profited from these deals remain unknown.
Can I prove to you there was corruption? No, I can't. But there's such huge discrepancies between what the government reports as their income, what the company said they paid the government, what the state-owned company got from these deals. We can't trace the money, and there's something wrong. But we've seen it over and over and over again.
The London-based company ENRC has annual revenue of over $6 billion. Glencore, also based in London, has annual revenue of over $2 billion. Dan Gertler was recently named to the list of new billionaires under the age of 40.
How much money has been lost to the Congo?
We don't have the total figure, but we analysed just 5 deals, 5 of the many deals of this nature that have been struck. And by looking at the data, we determined that at the very least $1.355 billion was lost to Congo as a result of these deals.
It goes without saying that corruption isn't a one-way street. It's not a story of corrupted Africans. It's a story of corrupted and corrupting people and businesses on all sides.
You know, this is what multinationals do. They try to protect their interests, which is access to minerals.
Do you think that has a humanitarian cost to it?
Oh, I think there's all kinds of costs to it. Let's look at Angola, for example, one of the most poverty-stricken, corrupt countries in the whole world. Where does all the money that's being stolen and not used properly in Angola come from? Well, it comes out of oil. Who does the oil? American companies. So are we complicit in the poverty of Angola as a nation? Because American companies are exploiting the oil? What about women's rights in Saudi Arabia? Who buys all the Saudi oil or produced it or found it? And so are we ethically accountable for that?
Governments in the West, the US, the UK, have a responsibility to scrutinize those companies because by buying those assets, they are directly complicit in the illegal enrichment of a very narrow and abusive elite in the Congo. And so I think we need to stop pretending like we have nothing to do with it. We do have something to do with it.